me call the police?
I'm taking photographs.
No, you're not. You're not taking anything.
Can you back away from me a little bit? I'm gonna step away from you, okay? I don't want you
Stop taking the pictures.
I'm videotaping and photographing.
Hey, Richard! Richard! Richard!
Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff with On Your Civil Rights Investigations. Today is Friday, June 9th, 2023. It's about 4:18 p.m. I'm standing out here on the public sidewalk outside of the Talleyrand Marine Terminal. This is basically Jacksonville Ports. You can see right out here, Jacksonville Ports. Main entrance right there. And I was out here about 6 or 7 years ago, I guess now. It's been a while. And this is a revisit. See if anything's changed from 6 or 7 years ago where they were trying to tell me that the ports could not be photographed. It was against the law, against federal law, against state law, whatever you were saying. Hey, I'm recording this phone call for public record. What are you guys going to do about this guy walking around here taking pictures of the ports on Talleyrand?
Well, apparently they were saying something about the guy that he's over there trying to cause trouble and just put some stuff on YouTube about Jack's Port or something. They really didn't specify. They just said to kind of keep an eye on him, but don't engage him because I guess there's something in the background.
Morning, Edwina.
So they have information on it. That's all I think.
East Cleveland from the Toledo area, from west of Toledo. So a couple hour drive. We're going to stop for gas before we get on the freeway.
And there's nothing really that anybody else could do about it. But yeah, that's from my understanding. What they told me was that not to engage him and just to observe and report.
Observe and report. It's,
Yeah.
Do you recommend that if I see him out there again to call?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely let us know if he's out there so then I can pass the ordinance to the FSOs.
Okay, well, if I see something, I'll say something. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate it.
The video recording, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, generally, and no one is allowed to take any pictures on anything.
It's raining here.
This is Talleyrand. This is the public sidewalk.
Yeah, it's raining here.
Anything you can see from the public.
This is finally some relief. We've been getting some weather lately, but it hasn't been awfully hot here yet. It's swinging back and forth. It went from the 90s the other day to high of low 70s. It's been weird.
This is a 7-year revisit or 6-year revisit. And I'm just going to stand out here on the public sidewalk, get some B-roll video of trucks coming and going. The activity out here at Talleyrand.
This is the village of White House, Ohio.
We'll see what happens.
That was the White House Inn on the right. That's where I live. Doc. We're gonna stop at the Speedway, get some fuel and something to drink for the trip. Normally I bring my little pug puppy with me, but he was being an asshole this morning, so he gets to stay in his apartment, his little apartment for the day till the wife gets home. At least I won't have to worry about bugs on the windshield today. You'll get them big swings in the desert. Are you in the mountainous area or the desert area?
Hey, how you doing?
You're probably close to Albuquerque, right?
I just think some photographs. Yeah. Just curious. Curiosity. So.
You do like post YouTube videos?
Yeah.
Do you have like a channel name?
Yep. On your own. Civil
On
rights.
your own.
Yep. On your own. Civil rights investigations.
Do you be in like Florida or do you go like?
Mississippi. Last week.
Okay, at the base of the mountains. East or west side? Kind of affects the weather. I think when the air goes over the mountains, it does cool a little bit. Who knows with weather anymore? I got you. All right, that's what I was kind of figuring. The desert goat, Freeman.
It's just weird, you know, like, at the port, you know, on that activity, you can hear me call it out.
You get it on yourself?
No, yeah, I just saw it now. Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, first time experience, like, you have to watch that. Just with that,
Well, this part is. We'll see when we get on the turnpike.
Yeah, cool. Appreciate that.
how long you plan on being out here for?
I don't know.
Okay. You want that pump? You can have it. No, you don't want it? All right, you just wanted to cut through. Okay.
You know, I'd rather not answer questions like that. But,
I'll be right back. You guys can listen to Jeff.
stay safe.
Actually, it's pretty much done. That was his last visit. All right.
She got sentenced to 3 years.
This is Robert Govea watching the Watchers
Documents of her own. We're asking
member
ourselves,
stream.
wow,
So you
because
can listen to
a lot
that.
of people
I'll be right
have
back.
Classified documents problems. Not only Donald Trump, but people like Pence and people like Biden. So we're
I'm gonna leave it on accessory for you.
What
I'll be
is
right
the
back.
distinguishing characteristic? Because
If anyone
this
else
is
pops in, just let 'em know.
And she is convicted and she's going to prison. And this was a big deal. Apparently, she had these documents for like, I don't know, a decade. So we'll go through all of that and more, my friends. And as you can see, it's going to be a busy show. We've got a bunch of stuff that is fresh out of the oven, which is why we're here and grateful that you're joining us on this lovely, lovely Friday as we get into it. Now, if you want to be a part of our amazing community, you can join us at watchingthewatchers.locals.com. It's where we have our member-only streams, and we do our regular docket updates where we poke around and we see exactly what's going on with the Trump case. We regularly check Congress and their congressional committee schedules. We see what's happening in the Senate and the House of Representatives. We look at the Biden schedule, see where he's at, or more regularly where he's not at. And so if you want to join and get more, more of the intimate stuff, join us watchingthewatchers.locals.com. Join us on YouTube, and no matter where you join, don't forget to grab access to our private members-only Telegram group. And I see the chat is filling in. Hey, good morning, my friends. Welcome aboard. We also want to say, have you had your greens today? Have you eaten your greens? You could have, but this is where you would go if you wanted to get some delicious, real organic superfood, courtesy of our friends over at Field of Greens. Because Field of Greens is a great place, and we all would like to lose those leftover pandemic pounds. But we're all sick of those ads, for weight loss pills and fad diets. We've all tried them. We know that they don't work. But you know what does? Eating 5 healthy servings of fruits and vegetables every day. You do that, and the weight would probably just fall right off. But vegetables, not a fan. And fruit, who's got time to prepare that every day? Not me. Instead, let's talk about Field of Greens. Now, Field of Greens is a science-backed formula, specific fruits and vegetables that you won't find in any other product. Proper nutrition reboots your metabolism so you burn calories faster and lose weight the healthier way. And Field of Greens is the only brand backed by a better health promise. Yes, you'll look and feel healthier fast, but the greater proof comes at your next checkup when your doctor says, wow, you've lost weight, whatever you're doing. Keep it up. And so let's get you started. Go on over to fieldofgreens.com. Don't forget to use code Robert when you check out so that you can save 15%, baby, on your first order at fieldofgreens.com. Get your real organic superfood. The vegetables want to be eaten. You'll be bursting with green energy. The good kind. Courtesy of our friends at fieldofgreens.com. All right. And so let's get into it. We've got a bunch of stuff to get to in various different segments. We'll start off with this one. Hunter Biden found a new club. This time it's the Executive Office of the Presidency, and he joins the White House in State Department dinners hosting very important diplomats. And this is a curious development because Hunter Biden palling around at the White House comes on the heels of some very interesting news. One little tidbit that we've covered here is Hunter Biden taking a guilty plea, pleading to 2 misdemeanors and having another felony dismissed through diversion and a very sweetheart deal, a benefit that not a lot of other people in America get, but he did because his daddy is the president. We've also seen other whistleblowers come out, we've covered their transcripts and testimony at length, who have revealed that this deal may have come due to pressure and improprieties taking place at the DOJ, the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the IRS, all done under collusion of Merrick Garland, who works for Joe Biden. Very, very big problem. But Hunter is palling around.
All right.
Now knows
Got my iced
that he
tea.
settled his case with his baby mama, that he's got a kid Biden will not bring into the fold of the family. Joe Biden says he's got 6 grandkids. You got 7 there, Joe. We know there's one you don't want to acknowledge, but doesn't make it not reality. And now we also find out that Hunter Biden was kicked out of a club in Los Angeles, a Bang Bang club. Not to confuse with Fang Fang, who did make Bang Bang with Eric Swalwell. That's a different story. This is a Bang Bang club in Los Angeles for degenerates like Hunter Biden to attend. And here is
Bang, bang.
what a former founder said about this Bang Bang club. Apparently the club is called SNCTM, apparently short for Sanctum, where they remove the vowels. I guess that makes it more attractive to them. So the club founder has been banned after naming Hunter Biden as a former member, because you can't name people who are part of the Bang Bang Club. This guy, gross. He's wearing whatever that thing is, and gosh, he's got all sorts of symbolism on him and all the things. His name is Damon Lawner. He's the founder
Morning, Chopper.
of Sanctum. Has been kicked out of the club, banned from the high-end club after he publicly identified Hunty as a former member. Gosh, everybody in that club better get checked, man. The claim about Hunter Biden, the president's son, was included in the Times profile of Lawner published on Tuesday. Sanctum is a private members club. It prioritizes the safety and privacy of our esteemed members above all, a spokesman said to the Times. Consequently, they neither confirm nor deny the identities of our attendees. Furthermore, we uphold strict code of conduct, and any infringement leads to a lifetime ban. Please note that Mr. Lawner's membership has been revoked effective immediately. You can't talk about it. The first rule of the club is you don't talk about the club. The spokesman said Lawner has had no affiliation with the club since 2019. He sold the club for $1 million. He created the club after watching that Tom Cruise movie.
Well, not around here.
Carefully curated.
I got fucking grass to cut too this weekend. Hopefully we get enough of a dry spell where I'll be able to cut my grass. It was been dry most of the week since last Friday when they had the tornadoes.
National policy for proposed. It became the free-loving private playground of Hollywood.
We could use the rain.
Rock stars, chief executives, city officials, and run-of-the-mill millionaires, and crackhead sons of executives in the White House. Lawner told the Times that he chose to sell the business after ruining relationships with his family. In the profile, he discussed the early days of the club, the elaborate masquerade parties. The story noted that Hunter had also reached a clean
Sounds like
deal.
eyes wide open.
Lawner wrote in a sensitive
whatever.
He said, Hunter was a member at this club, and I canceled his membership after one party because he's a scumbag. Oh, man.
You got scumbags calling Hunter
He's
scumbags.
such a scumbag that he can't even be a member at a degenerate sex club. Right. The ownership group now in control, he's in the White House now. You know, I'm pretty sure he's living at the White House and moving his dad from room to room. The ownership group, now in control of Sanctum, took issue with Lawner's post, briefed by phone. Lawner said one of the club owners texted him, said, "You're banned." He said, posting what I did on Instagram about Hunter, with me letting people know what the type of behavior that he exhibited upsets me. I know the consequences, but I'm willing to take the risk. I literally don't care in the sense that I don't go to that party anymore. The only reasons I've attended any parties in the past, but I'm not interested. Sanctum said, as we can neither confirm nor deny the attendees of anybody present, this spokeswoman did not respond to a call and an email requesting to interview the owner. A lawyer for Biden did not respond to a request for a comment. And there was another story about, let's see if I can grab this. Another story says that Hunter Biden also deducted the money that he spent to those clubs.
Looks like a bunch of area codes that are around here. They're missing 567.
We're exchanging ideas. Not a lot of talking. But we were networking. This dude is walking around at State
USA?
right here. This guy. Now it says Biden illegally deducted, I wonder if he's been charged with these, tens of thousands of dollars in payments from his taxes. In an interview with House Ways and Means,
an old
the
Edsel?
unnamed IRS investigator details how Hunter went to great lengths to underreport.
I really like those
and
cars.
avoid
I don't know
paying
why they didn't do very well. I mean, they were
by writing
almost
off his bang
the
bang.
designing on them was too much for the time, I guess.
He deducted payments that were made to who
Oh,
he
this
calls
guy's
his
on the
West
road.
Coast assistant.
Not a good place to stop,
But
homie.
she was a prostitute
Oh, he broke down. Damn.
who worked for
That
the
sucks.
agency.
I'm gonna have to throw up my
He put that on his
hazard.
2018 return. Another whistleblower, Gary Shapley, who we'll read through later, found several instances where he was expensing flights, right? He's flying them out there. Multiple examples where prostitutes were
Okay.
having communications.
Yeah, I'm heading to East Cleveland today from
flight tickets showed
Toledo area.
The whistleblowers also
We'll be jumping on the turnpike in a minute.
Deposit
We're going to put a test to this
Bang Bang
car's hotspot.
listing it as a golf membership, right? Now, so just so we're clear, this guy got 2 misdemeanor charges for failing to file his taxes, right? This is outright fraud. Right? This is, it's a golf
Ford.
with that golf equipment here, but there's no grass anywhere. So this is what the IRS has covered up. This is what everything got.
Not the IRS in general.
Check
The
that.
whistleblower was telling about
They
this
say
shit.
that he went to a club, and we talked to the person that owned the club, and they confirmed that he was there. And he and the guy has to pay $10,000, and the girl doesn't have to pay anything. So he also deducted that from his tax return. $75,000 all.
Whoa.
Damon Lawler, of course, outed him, and now he's in big trouble. He's banned from the Bang Bang Club. You're not allowed to out people like that. Now, what we have, of course, is the White House not concerned about any of this. Joe Biden is not even concerned.
Well, the sub distraction is gone. What's going to be the next one, guys?
In fact, it's so great that as all of this stuff is breaking, as we learn that the whistleblowers have a ton more evidence to out the Biden crime family,
Why is that?
as
Because
Hunter
this is
is settling with basically a child that has been excommunicated from the family, as Hunter has revealed to have been lying on his taxes and writing off his Bang Bang Club fees. After being kicked out for being a creep, they invited him to the state dinner of foreign officials. Here's what C-SPAN had for us. As Hunter is schmoozing around, hobnobbing with world leaders. That's Anthony Blinken back there, isn't it? You know who else was in attendance at this? Merrick Garland, the guy who runs the Department of Justice. There's Hunter. Hey, you guys. Hey, don't you give us any grief, all right? You know who my dad is, right? All right, we'll sue you. I'll send you a text later to get that money. He's just, hobnobbing all over the place. Piano's playing. Who else owes us money here? This guy owe us money? Blowing kisses. I love you. I'm getting my bag of money. How much do you owe me? 100 grand? This is another guy. Still moving, making deals, I'm sure. Let them eat cake, man. Let them eat cake.
Distinguished guests, please make your way to your seats. Dinner will begin shortly. Thank you.
Hunter Biden roaming around.
Yeah, man, Bob.
Many other people. We've got a lot.
They had a motorcycle on this shit?
A lot less. I mean, basically zero relative to what Hunter has done. Are sitting in prison all across America. Locked down, under investigation, many people not even convicted of anything, but nothing remotely close to this. Hunter's going to state dinners. Because that's where we're at. This is more and more. And this is not just a right versus left thing. Right? Talk about all of the complaints that the left had, the Democratic Party had about inequalities between police and local law enforcement and all the things. Think about everybody who's got a family member who's sitting in custody for petty theft or something like that. Where this guy has been robbing and pillaging for years. It's all documented on a hard drive that the FBI has had since 2019, and everybody's just sleeping on it in the federal government. And now he's apparently a representative of the United States as he pretends he's partying. So that's where we're at. It's a pretty sickening display, but this is what the Biden White House and the media is going to continue to cover up as the election unfolds. But fortunately, we have some interesting things that are popping out now. The lid is going to be hard to keep sealed. Whistleblower number one, known as William Shapely, a very credentialed IRS supervisory special agent who works in the criminal investigatory team, has blown the whistle. And we heard him speak before, but we didn't get a full copy of his transcript from when he sat down behind closed doors with Congress. You have that document now, along with his affidavit. This is the document that reveals more evidence about the Biden crime family, because Shapely, along with Mr. X, who apparently, as we know, is a subordinate of his, they were working on the Biden crime family case. They were specifically targeting Hunter Biden, wanting to go investigate his storage facilities, get access and search warrants, go and take an investigation from covert to overt to have contact with him so that they could investigate him and potentially bring charges, saying no one is above the law. But after they began blowing the whistle, they were outed. They were called and reassigned by the IRS and the DOJ themselves. And so now they're making their voices heard. This is the statement of Gary Shapely, whistleblower number one, who's got the goods on the Biden crime family. Here is what he said. I, Gary Shapely, hereby provide the following statement. I make this statement to supplement the testimony I've already given. He says, beginning in January 2020, I was assigned to work on the Hunter investigation. And January 2020 would be the year of the election. November 2020 is when we're voting. So he's going to be assigned criminal investigation for the Department of Treasury. I supervise investigations, including of Hunter. I continued in that role until I was removed, May 2023, after I provided protected whistleblower disclosures about the mishandling of information, including Hunter Biden. There was conflict of interest that I saw. I saw preferential treatment, deviations from the norms of investigative procedures, and I saw conflicting information provided by Merrick Garland of the United States Department of Justice to Congress related to the independence of David Weiss, the attorney who supposedly this independent person had authority to do whatever he wanted. Whistleblower says Eric Garland lied about that. He did not have that authority. Most recently, Shipley says former Attorney General Bill Barr provided an interview in which he stated that information provided by CHS concerning an alleged bribery scheme by Biden was received through the Pittsburgh Attorney's Office and was determined it was not likely to have been disinformation. Barr said it was provided to the ongoing investigation in Delaware. Now, neither I nor the line agents nor the FBI agents were ever provided that information that Attorney Barr recently referenced. Nobody checked it out. Prosecutors never provided that info to us. As such, neither us nor the FBI agents working with them were provided the opportunity to conduct an investigation. We requested to be a part of the briefings, but our requests were denied. If IRS investigators had participated in those briefings, we would have ensured that the proper investigative steps were conducted to make sure we were getting the veracity of the investigation into Hunter. He says during the criminal investigation it is pivotal. All leads are shared, but they weren't here. This is another example of prosecutors from the DOJ, not even the IRS people or the FBI people. Just so we're clear about this. And we saw this yesterday with this other IRS agent. The prosecutors, like Leslie Hook, who have to interface with the actual filing of the charges. These investigators, IRS and FBI, they're just witnesses, essentially. They're just investigators. Then they give it to the government, the prosecutor, and the prosecutor brings the charges forward. So they can act as the ultimate roadblock, which is exactly what's happening. It is more likely than not that there are more examples of information that prosecutors conceal from investigators, in addition to what I've already shared. And so
I'm driving out of it now.
Of this CHS information being concealed by prosecutors from the IRS and from the FBI, we were unable to follow alleged criminal activity that we would normally follow. Agents from the IRS and the FBI confirmed that to the best of their knowledge, this information was never provided and no known investigative steps were taken or assigned to Hunter to substantiate it. All right, total cover-up.
I'm gonna go back to Callahan and then let's
where this is coming.
This is over with. I always miss the daytime.
And Gary Shapley also appeared and testified in front of Congress.
I'm working.
And so let's go. Deposition, 212 pages. Part of a set of whistleblowers that came forward. The other whistleblower is known as Mr. X. We don't have a name for him. But Shapley has identified himself. Gary Shapley Jr. He shows up to Congress. A bunch of people are present, including lawyers for the majority and the minority, the Republicans and the Democrats. And they go through the normal litany. Good morning. We're here today for an IRS deposition. Gary Shapley is here. thank you for coming here. Everybody, I'm here. John Lou, everybody's here. Now, I want to go over the whistleblower rules, just so we're clear how these depositions work. We're going to speak clearly, all right? And we're going to cover a wide range of topics. Do you understand? Yes. Is there any reason why you can't tell the truth? No, no reason. And they give him the criminal warning. You know, Mr. Shapley, that if you're lying to us here, if any of this is dishonest, we can charge you with a crime. Criminal prosecution for perjury and making a false statement. Mr. Shapley says, yes, I do. So every time they come out and they say these two whistleblowers are just Russian stooges, point them right back to that. They're here under penalty of perjury. They can be prosecuted.
Unless they're Democrats.
He says, you also know this is confidential, right? Yeah. He says, you know we can investigate this stuff, right? Yeah. Very good. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's be...
Phone rang and just killed my stream.
October of 2022, I'd received the highest awards available to me in my agency. I was senior leader, assistant special agent in charge in Chicago.
Howdy, inDOCtriNATION.
Performance rating that year, which was outstanding. And I was planning to transition to a new position in headquarters for international collaborations. I'd led, planned, developed, executed warrants in dozens. And he says, you know, despite all of that work, since October 2022, the IRS Criminal Investigations Unit has taken every opportunity to retaliate against me and my team. I was passed over for a promotion for which I was qualified. The special agent in charge and the assistant agent in charge have sent threats to the field office, suppressing additional potential whistleblowers from coming forward. Even after the IRS senior leadership had been made aware on a regular basis that the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office was acting improperly, they acquiesced to a DOJ request to remove the entire team from the Hunter investigation. Right? DOJ putting the pressure on the FBI and the IRS. This team's been investigating it for over 5 years. Passing the buck and deferring to others was a common thing. Now, after you hear my testimony, Congress, I believe you will understand why my conscience would not be silenced. My oath of office.
I'm down for some poker tonight.
I did nothing. I went from a senior leader here.
Haven't played in a while.
And the only thing that happened in between was that I blew the whistle. Now I'm blowing the whistle because the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office, which was assigned to investigate Hunter, the Department of Justice Tax, and the DOJ itself provided preferential treatment and unchecked conflicts of interest in an important and high-profile investigation of the president's son, Hunter Biden. The mission of the IRS criminal is to investigate criminal violations. That mission,
well, that's what we call it,
met if we all encounter the same process. If search warrants or witness interviews that include their actual names are not allowed, that's a deviation.
Yeah, I'm down.
We learned that whistleblower 2, Mr. X, explained that in detail for us. When they were going to get a search warrant, which is a part of the official record, then they wanted to include Hunter's name on there. DOJ would have prevented the investigative team from collecting enough evidence to make any informed assessment, which ultimately included even the DOJ agreeing on the recommended criminal charges. So Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower, says, I am alleging, with evidence, that the DOJ provided preferential treatment, slow-walked the investigation, and did nothing to avoid obvious conflicts of interest in this investigation. And for those saying this guy's a hack, he says, I have absolutely no political activities in my past. I voted in the general election and recently voted in the midterms because of an interest in the process for my children, who I took to witness one of the pillars of this nation, the right to vote. I have never given $1 to any campaign, never attended a campaign event at any level of government, never had a campaign sign on my car, lawn, etc. I do not have never owned a t-shirt or a hat with any election topic. I vote for a candidate, not the party. I voted for presidents with both R's and D's. Now, I speak on this topic so I can try to head off time that might be spent on it. In the end, a fact is a fact, regardless of the political affiliation of the person who brought it to you. I'm hoping the whistleblower process will allow me to give this protected disclosure and leave it to you to make your determinations based on what my testimony says.
So you're a voter.
I respect this institution.
No.
I have faith that the issues I raise will be considered appropriately. And I beg of you to protect me from the coming retaliatory storm. I beg of you to protect me from the coming retaliatory storm, says Gary Shapley. You are my only hope, and your actions send a message to all those out there that see wrongdoing but are terrified to bring it to light. Prayers for Gary Shapley for bringing this to light for all of us. Very courageous and heroic man. In this country, we believe in the rule of law, and that applies to everyone. There is not a two-track justice system, depending on who you are and who you're connected to. But the criminal tax investigation of Hunter, led by the U.S. Attorney's Office for Delaware, has been handled differently than any investigation I've ever been a part of in the last 14 years of my IRS service.
Oh, shit.
Some of these decisions
Get out of the way, dude. Fucking Biggie.
Politics. But whatever the motivations, at every stage decisions were made that had the effect of benefiting the subject of the investigation. These decisions included slow-walking investigative steps, not allowing enforcement actions to be executed, limiting investigators a line of questioning for witnesses. This station in Hunter, codenamed Sportsman, was first opened in November of 2018. Amateur online platforms with bang-bang material in it. Special Agent so-and-so developed the investigative lead and was assigned to be the original case agent. Foreign-based amateur online bang-bang platform. Hunter gets caught in that mix. Then in October 2019, the FBI became aware that a repair shop laptop allegedly belonging to Hunter, and the laptop might contain evidence of a crime. Yeah, a lot of them. And you can ask our friends at Marco Polo USA.
Your fur baby? Yeah, I was going to take the pug with me today, but he was already knocked out, so I just put him in his little apartment until the wife gets home.
They matched the device number.
Plus, I'm going to be doing a lot of running around when I get to the job site here. I'm not going to be able to keep up with them,
So what a total scam this was.
Oh, my German Shepherds are the same way.
It was his laptop because they were in possession of it. And they didn't release any information about it or respond at all to the letter from the CIA or the former CIA officials, the 51 so-called intelligence experts. So they knew it was true. Joe Biden's campaign.
I wouldn't even leave him in the
because Hunter knew it was true. Presumably, Joe
great,
talked
but
to Hunter, Hunter wouldn't lie to
he's
his
still
dad,
not
right?
potty trained, so.
So they all knew it was true, but the FBI never told it to us, and they all covered it up in a massive hoax. CIA drafted the 51 letter, and the Biden people told us it was Russian disinformation, and Anthony Blinken colluded with Mike Morrell, former CIA, and Anthony Blinken got promoted to the Secretary of State position. Now Hunter's palling around at the White House. Amazing. So the FBI was in on it, and they knew it was all a problem. When the FBI took possession of the device in December 2019, they notified the IRS that likely contained evidence of tax crimes. So they also knew it was criminal. The special agent so-and-so drafted an affidavit for a search warrant, which a judge approved that month. In January, I became the supervisor of the Sportsman Hunter case. The group known as International Tax has 12 elite agents. International Tax Crimes Group, the ITFC. Elite agents who were selected based on their experience and performance of complex, high-dollar, international...
Chopper's mind's always going in the gutter.
Now, this team, including the co-case agent, me, were working closely with the FBI and Delaware and Department of Justice Tax in bi-weekly prosecution team meetings. But it soon became clear to me that this case was being handled differently than anything I'd ever seen before. And he'd been there for some time.
Oh, yeah.
As early as March 6, 2020, I sent a sensitive case report up through my chain of command at the IRS, reporting that by mid-March, the IRS would be ready to seek approval for physical search warrants in California, Arkansas, New York, and D.C., all locations of Hunter. Arkansas is where his new baby is. Special Agent so-and-so drafted an affidavit establishing probable cause for the search warrants. We also plan to conduct 15 contemporaneous interviews at the same time. But after former Vice President Joe Biden became the presumptive Democratic nominee in early April 2020, DOJ officials dragged their feet on the IRS taking these steps. By June 2020, those same career officials were already delaying overt investigative actions. This was well before the typical 60 to 90-day period where they would historically stand down before an election. June, July, August, September, October, November. That's 5 months, not 3 months. So June, July, we should be able to go forward on this without the DOJ invoking elections. It was a period of DOJ would obviously slow walk with the investigation.
Trying to get these flies out of the inside of the car here. Every time I put the window up, he goes right back to the window.
Special agent so-and-so had with our chain of command up to the director of field operations. I pointed out, I said, look, if normal procedures had been followed, we already would have executed these search warrants. We already would have conducted interviews and served these documents. But my IRS chain of command said, well, we gotta refer to the DOJ. So Gary Shapley says, thus, I became the highest ranking IRS leader to participate in our prosecution calls. We talked about specific case strategies. We discussed the investigation.
So there's a cop up there. Oh, there he is.
And from October 2020 until October 2022, so 1 month from the election all the way up until
Yeah, he's still
2 years
there.
after the
Piggy,
election.
piggy. Oink, oink, oink.
I was the IRS manager who interacted directly with David Weiss. So he's a direct witness to this investigation, just so we're clear. This is not hearsay stuff. It's not, 5 times removed. Individuals at the DOJ, he was there. Even after investigative steps were denied, enforcement operations were rejected by the DOJ, leading to the election of November 2020.
All right, Chopper,
We
get you some
continued
rest.
to obtain further leads in Hunter's case and prepared. In August 2020, so
I got about
just
another
months
hour
before
and
the
20
election,
minutes to drive.
we got the results back from an iCloud search warrant. Unlike the laptop, these came to the investigative team from a third-party record keeper and had a set of messages on it. The messages included material we clearly needed to follow up on. Not good. Nevertheless, the DOJ prosecutors denied investigators' request to develop a strategy. to look into the messages, and they denied the investigators' suggestion to obtain location information to see where the text came from. One example, we obtained a July 30th, 2017 WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden to Henry Zhao. Henry Zhao. Let's see who this individual is. Chinese official. New York Times has something on this.
Yeah, I go for a CT scan next month up in Ann Arbor at the medical center.
They don't have much information right now, Philip. They say Zhao is a Chinese. And here is what the text message says. I am sitting here.
These clouds look cool.
I am sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand. And now means tonight. And Z, if I get a call or a text from anyone involved in this other than you, Zhang, or the chairman, I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me, and every person he knows, and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. That's Vice President Joe, because this was 2017. He was there with Barack Obama. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father, leveraging the power of the vice presidency in some deal with Henry Zhao, Zhang, and the chairman. Communications like these made it clear, says Gary Shapley, the IRS whistleblower, that we needed to search the guest house at the Biden's Delaware residence where Hunter Biden stayed. 2020.
Yeah, they drew about almost sucked me dry that last appointment I had at the lab there.
The assistant U.S. attorney who we saw yesterday.
Yeah, she's a veteran too. I don't know if she's going to the VA, but
there was more than enough probable cause for a physical search warrant there. But the question was whether the juice was worth the squeeze. Is the juice worth the squeeze?
Hey, Anna.
When the president, vice president, and the current presidential candidate and his son.
I just refill my stuff online.
Engaging in
they just mail it to me.
Quid pro quos and bribery with foreign businessmen. Yeah, the juice is worth the squeeze. That's your entire job, Leslie, is to apply justice. She continues. She says that optics were a driving factor in the decision on whether to execute a search warrant. You don't go raid the Bidens, okay? You only raid the Trumps. She said a lot of evidence in our investigation would be found in the
so you're close to a active duty post then, okay.
But said there's no way.
Yeah, it's, at Fort Polk, we had a lot of veterans and stuff like that came, or retirees anyway, that used to come into the hospital. When I was in Louisiana, Fort Polk, Bain Jones Army Community Hospital.
When it comes time to get a warrant from them, sorry, no go. It's too much, it's kind of a problem because it's our candidate. It's our Democratic candidate. And let's be clear about this. Joe Biden was running for president at this time. All right? September 3rd, 2020. He was running for president. They're prosecuting Trump now.
Yeah, the nearest base to me that has a hospital would be Dayton.
But the FBI is
base,
not going to go and implicate Vice President Biden in any way.
That's a bit of a
Only
drive.
Hunter.
It's like
Double
3 hours away.
Here are insane, and this is why Gary Shapley
Ann Arbor's only an hour.
Mr. X are heroes for bringing this to work.
But that's a nice hospital.
The prosecutor
for VA,
even wanted
that's
to
a really nice
remove
hospital.
Hunter Biden's name from electronic.
Mostly U of M doctors working there too.
Requests. Special Agent so-and-so said that he felt uncomfortable with removing his name. That's unethical.
How I got
His
recommended
concerns
for
were
that
ignored.
clinical trial from
DOJ
AMS.
tax attorney Jack Morgan said, doing it without Hunter's name would still get us, most of the things we want. But I've never understood to be part of an investigation where most was sufficient. On September 3rd, the slow walking process continued. Leslie Wolf, again from the DOJ, stated that a search warrant for emails for Blue Star Strategies was being sat on by OEO. That's the DOJ office. He says, actually, I don't even know what it means, the acronym. Yeah, nobody knows what it is. There's so many acronyms that nobody even knows. Right? He's been there for what? Since 2008, 2009, no idea what it means. OEO, don't even know. I don't know what it means either. And I'm sure probably the OEO people don't even know what it means because this is the government. But she indicated that this warrant is likely not going to get approved. Because it's being covered up. This was a significant blow to the FARA piece of the investigation. You don't get your warrant. On September 4th, Deputy Attorney General Donahoe issued a cease and desist. See that?
I think I'm following.
A cease and desist of all overt activities due to the coming election. So they delayed it long enough to get it into the election window. September hits. He goes, oh man, perfect. September, October, November, that's our 60-day window. Now I've got a precedent here. So stop all your investigation. Don't release anything. You're all stopped. U.S. Attorney Leslie Wolf made several odd statements as well. She included saying that the DOJ was under fire and that it was self-inflicted. What does that mean? She stated that the DOJ needed to repair. Maybe they're upset because in 2016, they helped to discuss and cover up the Hillary stuff. Remember in 2016, James Comey and the DOJ, they had a very similar situation where Hillary Clinton, as a presidential candidate, was alleged to have been involved in all sorts of criminality, including her classified documents problem. And when James Comey came out and contorted himself into a pretzel to not charge her, he changed the criminality from being grossly negligent, which would have necessitated charges, into extremely careless, which doesn't fit the statute anymore, even though the conduct is the same. They said that that may have been enough to deviate Clinton from winning the election. And so the DOJ was destroyed, the FBI was destroyed. They were not going to be responsible for this again. Now their new candidate, Joe Biden, has very similar allegations of criminality. In this case, it involves Hunter, and it involves Joe's access when he was vice president. The text message implicates Vice President Joe, who is now, at this time, September 2020, their candidate. So they need to repair their reputation, okay? The DOJ is under fire. You're not going to let us, if we bring this stuff to light, we're going to get Trump elected again, is what they're saying. The next prosecutors meeting, September 21st, the FBI tried to dictate that we only do 5 of the planned interviews.
So they're going to allow us to elect a criminal instead.
Want to continue assisting, right? Because they're not going to come out and implicate Joe Biden again. They already did that with Hillary in the months leading up to the 2020 election.
Not sure what you meant by that, Chopper.
Losing this. Special Agent so-and-so said, it seems inappropriate for you guys to dictate, the FBI to dictate to the IRS who we should be interviewing. Later that day, I learned that the FBI case agent in Delaware had only recently moved back to his hometown of Wilmington with his wife and family, and he was concerned about the consequences for him and his family if they conducted those sensitive interviews and if they executed a search warrant on Biden's guest house. So the FBI case agent, they also throw in Delaware. They know that everything in Delaware is controlled by Biden. He's been in charge there for the last 30 years. FBI agent is worried about his family. So then Gary Shapley emails Attorney Wolf from the DOJ. He says, hey, Leslie, we need to talk about the computer, all right? It appears the FBI is making certain representations about the device.
I gotcha.
And the only reason we know what
I'm taking less medicines than I've ever taken in my life right now, and I feel a whole lot better.
It says if Durham also
every time you go there, they're trying to get you to start taking something else. I told them to fuck off.
Leadership is informed. My management has to be looped into whatever.
Don't care what it does to your clinical trial results.
Responsibility to know that. Let me know when I can be briefed on this issue. So he sends that to the DOJ. IRS sends that to the DOJ. They're not going to like that email. My email led to a special meeting on October 22nd with the prosecution team and the FBI's computer analysis team to discuss the Hunter laptop. We once again objected that we still had not been given access to the laptop. So they're not even going to let IRS investigate it, even though they know it's Hunter's, and they have an open investigation into Hunter. Incredible. Special Agent Redacted asked about the full filter review copy of the contents. And remember, they were pulling out, Hunter's a lawyer, so they pulled his contents out, gave it to a filter team, so that if there were any client files on there, they weren't looking at the client files. They only want to go into Hunter's personal stuff, not his attorney-client privilege stuff, because that is very sacred, unless, again, you're Trump. Then the DC courts will just shatter that with no problem. So he stated that he had not been provided with the data. Leslie Wolf also stated that she would not have seen it because, for a variety of reasons, prosecutors decided to keep it from the investigators. No reason why. He says this decision is unprecedented in my experience.
Yeah, they feel like they're not doing anything unless they prescribe you something new, it seems like. It's ridiculous. I mean, I actually just read all my labs. Only thing I need to up a little bit is my my vitamin D, which is fine. It goes up in the summertime anyway. I'm in the sun more, but everything looked pretty good to me. My cholesterol's up just a bit, but not bad.
Russian influence manipulation line. She further supported this belief by mentioning that they corroborated the data with other sources of information received. And when Tony Bobulinski came out in October of 2020, this was all being corroborated at that time because we had public sourcing that could match up the dates in the emails to the news reports of where Joe Biden was traveling. Also, on October 22nd, 2020, just weeks before the election, on a prosecutor team call, Leslie Wolf, the U.S. attorney, stated that United States Attorney David Weiss had reviewed the affidavit for a search warrant of Hunter Biden's residence, and he agreed probable cause had been achieved. Which means you submit it to a judge signs off on it, let's go. Even though the legal requirements were met and the investigative team knew evidence would be in these locations, search warrants.
Call Josh Koenig.
Calling Josh Koenig.
Has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
All right, I tried. Hello.
Hey, Doc, I just sent you a text message.
Yeah.
Can you jump on this call right now?
Yeah. It's all right.
Jump on right now this call on Teams, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not logged into Teams, but okay.
Not logged. You can.
Yeah, I can.
You can't. What? You don't have Teams? You say?
I'm driving right now. That's so I'm gonna try to actually heading out to the housing. She's trying to. Are you on with Rebecca right now?
Yes. Well, all on Teams.
Ask her.
I go with someone else.
Okay. Could you ask her what number I need to hit? for her to log into the Gmail?
He wants to know what number he's on the road. He wants to know what number you have to log. Hold on one second. I'm putting you on speaker.
All right.
Hold on.
12? Okay.
Hello?
Yep, I got it. You should get it. You should be in.
Okay, I'm in here.
Doc, any way you could jump on the Teams, you can even actually log on. You don't have access.
I have access, but it's like I said, I'm driving and that phone isn't. Yeah. Let me get logged in though.
All right, try to log. Okay, try to come on. Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
Okay, send me an invite. Need an invite. I don't even think I'm logged in on Teams on here. Fuck. Literally gonna have to pull over to get to do this. I don't even think that way I do. I don't even know what my password is. Fucking hang on a second. I gotta try and. Sorry guys, I'm trying to fucking do 10 things at once here. raining up ahead. Got somebody pulled over. We don't need to stop. Oh. Oh yeah, rain is good. We need it for sure. I've been driving in rain all morning. Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
That's really bad for Joe. On December 10th, the prosecutorial team met again to discuss the next steps. One piece of information came out the day of action was that Hunter Biden vacated his office in D.C. Documents all went to a storage unit in Virginia. The IRS prepared. Shapley says, my special agent in charge and I scheduled a call with you to talk about that issue. We want to go and get the storage room. Weiss agreed that if the storage unit wasn't accessed for 30 days, yeah, we can get a search warrant. No sooner had we gotten off the call with David than Leslie Wolf had simply reached out to Hunter Biden's defense counsel and told him about the storage unit. I've never heard of anything like this. The prosecutor is literally calling the lawyer and saying, hey, they're coming for your storage unit. IRS calls the U.S. attorney in charge in Delaware, David Weiss. Leslie Wolf should be subordinate to David Weiss. Now, my question is, sort of, did David Weiss, is this like a good cop, bad cop routine, where David Weiss is pretending to be the good cop, and so he gets the call, he says, hey, these IRS guys are coming for the storage unit. He passes that off over to Wolf. So she calls the counsel because Weiss can't call counsel. So Wolf calls, listen, my friends, a prosecutor literally calling a defense lawyer and giving them evidence that's going to prevent their client from being charged on a case that the prosecutor is working on is so corrupt, I can't even. It's disgusting. And so this is once again ruining our chance to get evidence before being destroyed, manipulated, or concealed. This guy, it's like Game of Thrones, man. He shows up and is explaining to what he expects to be his own side. And he shows up and they stab him in the back 35 times. My special agent in charge at the time emailed, quote, frustration with the U.S. Attorney's Office for not allowing us to get a search warrant. Shapley says, to this day, I have no way of knowing if the documents from that unit were among those that were ultimately provided to our team. This was the second search warrant where prosecutors agreed that probable cause was achieved but would not allow investigators to execute, a clear indication of preferential treatment of Hunter. Yeah, it took like, I don't know, 15 minutes for them to get a search warrant over Trump. Bruce Reinhardt out of there. FBI like slapped together a search warrant. He's like, great, go get it.
Hey, Miss inDOCtriNATION. Hey, Josh wants me to get in he says a Teams meeting. I don't know what it really is, but I don't have an invite to it. Are you still watching? You got off the phone. They were in it already. I'm like, I need an invite to it. I can't just jump in a Teams meeting that I'm not invited to. I don't even think it's Teams. I think it's Google Meet. But either way, I need an invite. When I told him I was driving, I logged into Teams on my personal phone just to do it.
The investigation has been hampered.
I got no invite.
Claims of potential election meddling. Through interviews and review of evidence obtained, it appears there may be a campaign of finance criminal violations.
Yeah, I know.
U.S. Attorney
I need an invite. Can you just forward it? Are you in it? Can you just forward it to me if you got it?
any of these agents to
Or can you just send Josh a message? I sent Rebecca an email saying send me the invite, but she hasn't
that we could not
She hasn't replied.
beyond reasonable doubt and that she was not going to agree with her public integrity.
I'm not sure she even wants me in the meeting.
We do not agree with her obstruction on this matter. Is what he says.
I really think I need to be part of that meeting.
Literally obstructing an investigation within the agency.
Did you? I hate trying to text while I'm driving, especially on the phone that I'm streaming from.
Multiple times thereafter about interviews to be planned. Wolf emailed us and says, I do not think we're going to be able to do these interviews as planned. She says, sorry, those require approval from tax. Delays extended through September into October. Then they raised other objections. Part of what we examined were charges made with Hunter Biden's card that might conceivably have been done by his children.
Oh, I guess I'm not going to be in it then.
But U.S.
He said
Attorney
jump
Wolf
in.
told
I'm like,
us
how the
it's
fuck am I
gonna
going to
get us
just
into
jump
hot
into a meeting
water
that I'm
if we
not
go into
invited to?
President Biden's grandkids. So as a result of this behavior, I went to my director and I expressed how poorly the DOJ was handling this case. Despite these obstacles, around this time, Special Agent so-and-so began drafting a Special Agent report, a SAR, which is a document in which the IRS recommends that charges be brought. But another troubling issue occurred with IRS criminal tax attorneys, known as CT Counsel. They reviewed the document, and one attorney called Chris Steinbrenner worked with the case agent to get questions answered and to understand the evidence. She indicated to the case agent that she was going to concur
This is gonna
all the
go black.
recommendations. No, I sent them a yellow light. I always said it was a yellow. Now, so she just changed her opinion. Steinbrenner sent it forward with a concur for all charges, and all 5 members.
In here, it matches the 24-hour to make sure it's there. It says the full name. It talks about the insurance, but there's nothing in here that's vague. It talks about that we're residential and detox program. All of that type of stuff that I've seen in this industry before that gets flagged, I went through and edited. So that way it shows, we have like a 24/7 buzzword, we have the insurance, we say the name fully, and we talk about the levels of care that mass licensure that I submitted.
Yeah, it seems like there's nothing more that can be done on this profile apart from a new account and a new reinstatement request. It looks perfect. Is that the DBA? Is that the business name of Ohio? Like, is that the
Yes.
Licensure, let me just triple check over here. Do you care if I show?
No, show it.
Anybody care? Okay. So like the license, Legends Recovery Center of Ohio LLC.
I mean, we could try adding an LLC and then removing it with an edit later. None of this is like.
If you want, you can keep the LLC there. This would be different. As long as the name is there, it's fine.
And then the occupancy thing is Legends Recovery Center of Ohio.
Is it a single occupancy dwelling or a multi-occupancy dwelling?
Josh, is there like multiple? Are you like? Is it one building or is there multiple businesses
Do you have your
inside
own,
of it?
have your own post box with one street number, or is it like 2/226?
What do you mean? What's your question again?
The address of
They
the
have a
business.
suite.
It's a suite. Okay.
Suite B.
Are there any other businesses that are similar in the same building?
No.
Just the nursing home.
One second. Slow down. The answers are which address are you looking at?
Green Springs.
Green Springs, Josh. It's 430 North Broadway and 430B North Broadway. So yes, there are similarities.
Boston Lab. Okay, fine. That is.
Wait, what?
There's 430 used to be like a nursing home, and that closed down, and we need the address to be 430B.
There's a nursing home, and then there was a personal care home. We shut down the personal care home. We created this entity, and we had to create a new mailing address to differentiate between it and the nursing home. So we created a 430B as in boy address.
Well, that could be the issue. If that doesn't
That could be a problem. Yeah.
that could be a problem. I see here, I would get rid of Suite B. Personally, that would be my recommendation. Can it and request the reinstatement again. Google doesn't show an old nursing home on Google. It just shows this building as an empty building with nothing. So that's not. What does it say in that letter you had up?
I know, that's what I'm pulling down now. Hold on a second. Let me grab it again. Oh, okay, so here's my one question is, do we,
Right.
utility bill,
Rebecca, 1 second. Right, you want to add in doc? Bring that in here.
There you go. At least there's a man driving his car. I assume it's not. It's not going to be an issue.
Doc, you there?
Yeah, well, seated. So, well, that's well, I'm on here. I'm just Legends RCOH. That's what I logged in with for the Google Meet. I thought it was. I thought we were on Teams. I was looking on Teams.
Okay, so there are three
No, but
labs.
Doc, you have an email address, computerems@gmail.com.
Yeah, that's my personal Gmail. Yeah, or my business.
okay, great.
No issues with that. And any other accounts in the profile?
No, the other ones are all owned
Sorry,
by that.
there's no issues with any other businesses in that account, Doc? Like no businesses are being suspended?
No. I mean, we had some issues keeping the Pittsburgh one up, but it seems like that's been resolved. But I'm thinking that I'm not sure if this has more to do with the business than it does with the reviews. I mean, I think some of those.
Suspension issue ever. We deal with hundreds of reviews a month.
All right. Well, it was just weird the timing on it. I mean, the timing also coincided with when we were relieving literally just liking some of the reviews, and suddenly I received an email in the middle of that. That's when it happened. That's why I was suspicious of that, because of the timing.
So
Yeah.
I just want to confirm like one thing. Do you think this is going to be an issue when we have to submit the electric bill that like this, the electric bill technically has a suite, but the occupancy, I removed the suite. Is
Okay.
that still confirmed?
Yeah, those are the ones I sent. Yeah. Yeah, and since the other building is closed, I thought that maybe the plan was to, grow into that part of the building anyway. Like we could just remove the B,
Is it a real Suite B? Like, is there a separate post box, and like, is it registered in the American database of mail addresses as a Suite B, or did you just make that up so you wouldn't have an issue with the address?
No, and a separate address, separate mailing box,
Yeah.
for postal service, separate doors, separate everything.
Well, okay, so if the genuine address is Suite B, what is needed to update this, the certificate of use, to say that it's Suite B? Because we want it to be
It has
actually.
to match.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to match. But if this is wrong, then that could be the issue, and then changing it to not Suite B could cause further issues because it is technically Suite B.
Okay.
But Google.
It's odd that it took over a year before this became an issue.
What's this? Okay, hang on a minute. Spring Creek Nursing and Rehabilitation Center.
Yeah, that's the other side of the building. Well, there's one across the street. That's his big building. But
When I type in Suite B, 430 Broadway Street,
Right,
into Google,
this is what happens. There's one property. There were two addresses. There was 401 North Broadway, which was the nursing home, and then there was 430 North Broadway, which was the personal care home. We shut down the personal care home. We opened up the other side of it as a detox center, and we registered with the mail, and it's an official address. It's 430B North Broadway.
okay, so when I type in 430 Suite B 430N Broadway Street into Google Maps, it pulls up the 401 Spring Creek and Nursing Rehabilitation Center. When you don't put in Suite B, it pulls up the business, the 430N, with a picture of the big house, the big building with the brown roof.
Right,
That's it.
That's it. So behind that building is the key. Front of it is not.
So the building with the brown roof, with the white and then the bricks down the bottom, that's your building.
Yes, that's across the street.
Okay, so that's 430N, not Suite B. You type in Suite B, it redirects.
Wait, Josh, wait one second. Josh, no, that is. Can you look at it, because it's behind the
What
building.
are you
When
typing
you look
in?
at it here, I'm looking at it right now. It's 430. You see a building, and that's not being used. If you look at the left of it is a parking lot, and in the corner where you see there's like a one-level building, and then there's a corner, and that's the address to Suite B.
yes.
Okay.
So you can't see the entrance of 430B in the Google photo. The 430 that you see is closed down. It's a two-level building that connects to 430B.
But Google doesn't know about 430B.
Well,
Right.
it did. It did for a year.
Like, it was on Google Maps as 430B.
Yes, for over a year.
On
Where
Google
was the
Maps or
name?
Google My Business?
Both. That's why it was part of the website as well. It came up on they just used that link on the website, on the bottom of the website, and it was working fine, and then suddenly it got suspended. And without a real explanation as to why.
Josh, are we going to have this problem in Pittsburgh also?
This is interesting.
Now, we didn't come up to now. I don't know what happened.
I'm going to share my screen. I'd like you to have a look at this Google Map.
Let me stop sharing, Marion.
Here, I just sent you, right.
Uh-huh.
I just sent you a WhatsApp picture. You see it?
Right, before I show you, hold on, the picture please. Sweet. Okay.
So when you Google it, when you Google Earth it, where the yellow is, that's Suite B. It says Suite B. See it? That's an entrance. The front of it is 430.
Okay, yeah, sweet. So this is interesting. So Googling this, Suite B, it shows this, which is the pin, which is where it is. But clicking on it, it shows this, which is a telltale sign of a suspended listing. Right. So Google, it seems like what's happened is Google has added in this address because of the verified listing, thought, hey, wait a minute, this isn't a real address, potentially suspended the business, and this is what shows, this is a Google Knowledge Panel. See, it says, like, this is what you see when you have a suspended listing and it disappears. Like, if you search the link, if you got the share link of the actual business that's been suspended, you would see the same thing here. So this never appears for an address ever. See the businesses, the map pin, like this is a suspended listing map page on Google Maps. So the fact that it's not a valid address in Google is suspicious. And then up in Suite B, earlier when I typed in, see, it pulls this, which is 401. So I think
that's across the street.
I know it's across the street, but the point is, when you're Googling Suite B 430, Google recognizes this entity with that address, which is a problem.
Yeah.
So I would get rid of the Suite B. It might not technically be correct, but I think with the issue we've got now, it could resolve the suspension. Because, like, what else is here? Like, this is all one address according to Google, 430. You can right click on the pins and you can say what's here, and nowhere, see how it defaults to the main location? Every time. Yeah. Which means Google is not aware of a 430NB. That's just my that's what I'm seeing here. No matter where we drop, this might even do something completely different. Yeah, that's not even pulling up the address.
So are you saying take the Suite B and resubmit it again?
Yes. I mean, I'm not 100% that that'll fix it, but yeah, that's based on the fact that Google doesn't see a Suite B at all, and when you type in Suite B, it loads this. That's problematic.
Well, let me give you another address. So I have another facility with a Suite B.
I mean, suites often work. Like, I use suites. I've used suites before to create.
Type this address, so right, type this statement. It's called Legends Treatment Center of Pittsburgh. See, has a Suite B there? That's part of a bigger building also that I own. See? That's the building, and in front of that is a Suite B entrance.
Yeah, but this business isn't suspended, so, like, we're trying to gain Google here, and we're trying to give Google everything we can to sort of prove that it's legit. So normally I would say don't bother changing it. Like, I've used suites before to create lead gen fake businesses before, and they go through. But when they get suspended, Google's like, whoa, hang on a minute, this isn't an address.
Right,
I mean, hell, you can make a business that's fake it.
Pictures, videos, like licenses.
But your occupancy certificate doesn't say a suite on it. Yeah, not the only thing that has a suite on it is your one utility bill. Your occupancy statement does not say a suite.
So we say it's all coincidence with Doc Life did the same time as when Rise was saying that Google did the whole spam check. all happen at the same time?
I mean, Google goes through a spam update. It could have been that liking it triggered something. Very unlikely, but it could have been. It was coincidental. Any changes to the profile could be seen as you're trying to game the system because you're liking your own reviews. But I think based on this,
it was actually through the business manager. It was a reply to the reviews.
Yeah, well, that's very unlikely then. So you were liking the reply from the account that replied.
I was liking other reviews as the business, which businesses will send thank you for this, thank you for giving us the kind words, that type of thing.
I mean, that's unlikely to cause a suspension, but hey, it could be a thing. Google's Google, but I think
what you're saying is possibly that triggered an audit, or do you think that's not likely either?
How does anyone know?
You don't know. Yeah.
They won't tell you.
Okay, so the next step is take away the sweet B.
I did that. I took away the sweet B, and then Bryce, do you think that Doc should resubmit it through the primary account?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say
So Doc, the primary account is not the one that we submitted it through.
Okay.
It's your
the computer EMS one.
What one? No,
it's the other one. It's the Dawn.
It's the other one.
Wicklin, Norman Wicklin.
Oh, Doc Wick.
Yeah. Okay. So if you can resubmit it through that.
All right.
Don't put that we've been like doing this for 6 weeks or anything. Just do it like it's our first time.
Like a new submission.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. You get one submission per account. Because Google's not going to sort of. There's too much data to link the accounts and the profiles and all that stuff. All that saving resources for Google.
Okay.
Okay, I took the speed out.
And tick no, you haven't submitted a reinstatement request. Because if you tick yes, you can't submit one.
Correct, I know. Yeah. I'm doing it like it's a new one since I'm doing it from a different email. All right.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And failing that, I'll submit one. I've now got manager access in the account. I can remove myself now if you want, or I can hold off and I'll remain access until we've got this sorted. If we do this, stuff away, I'll need access in the future.
Yeah, I say stay in as long as Josh doesn't care. Josh, you care?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
Great. Well, yeah, keep me updated. We're interested to see how it goes. It seems like there's nothing really else we can.
Okay, so how long does it take after Sweet Pea is taken out? Not submitted today. The waiting game could take a day, could take a week.
Could take a week, could take 2 weeks.
I mean, I could submit it tonight once I get started. In an hour or so once I get stopped. It's probably going to ask for.
There's a violation.
Well, it's probably going to ask for a verification now with the video and everything.
What's that?
It's probably going to ask for a verification with the video, so I'll have to be on site actually when I do it.
Okay.
When we do that instantly, it'll go pending, and then they'll come back with that.
All right.
But submit all the documents.
Yeah, I have the same one she just showed. So.
You can upload photos if the reinstatement request as well, I believe. So if you've got some photos, things like that, photos, staff photos, something like that. The more detail we can put in, the better.
Oh yeah.
And once we're done with that, we scrub in Pittsburgh to make sure that there are none of these issues in case an audit is done on those sites.
I think any changes trigger these audits, though. That's the only thing. Is I'm after what's happened with this site, after being up for a year, any changes.
I'm not worried about triggering an audit. I'm worried about what they'll find under an audit. So, like,
General
looking through this, the same phone numbers, where they were linking, all of those things are fixed for in case Cleveland or Pittsburgh gets tagged for an audit, also, right?
The general rule of thumb is don't touch it. Don't fix it unless it's broken, really. Like, you don't want to be changing names and changing phone numbers and changing URLs on the account. Like, there's ways of doing that outside of the account, like using strong Google accounts to suggest edits and things like that. If the data matches, that's the best way of doing it. Like, all edits that I do on GMBs, it's always off the DMV, like from a user, like customer perspective.
Okay.
Because you don't want to get this is ridiculous. This shouldn't be that hard. I get the industry, that it's a very high span industry, but like got all the documents. So I would hope that it's the address. Because if that doesn't match with the government document, well, you haven't provided what you need to.
Right.
Just because there's a utility statement saying that the address is correct, if the government registration of Ohio letter says it's different, then I would assume it's that. But hey, we'll find out soon. But also hit them up on Twitter again, maybe. Now that you've changed it, maybe you could message them on Twitter again, Rebecca, and be like, hey, look, we saw that this address was wrong. Be transparent with them. We say, look, we saw the address was wrong. We fixed that up. It corresponds, everything's correct now. We've gone through, we've made the changes that we need to make sure we're compliant with Google's terms of service, blah, blah, blah. We realized we weren't before, yada, yada, yada. Give us another look.
Okay. All right, no problem. I'll get back to it now.
How long do they take to respond on Twitter?
So I get the automated message, and then I usually get a message within it's been 24 hours, to be honest with you. It's been the fastest. Now for them, when I ask a follow-up question, it's taken me 48, but it's definitely faster than, because that's what's worked for me in the past.
That might be the best recourse first, and then do the reinstatement with Doc, because we don't want them to be looking into it and seeing there's 2 open cases manually. Like, someone at Twitter is obviously manually looking, so we don't want to see them manually looking while there's another pending one, if that makes sense. So, I mean, this is not me. This is me talking from general experience, not from specific experience, but, you know, we don't want them to come back and say, oh, man, you've already got an open case on a different email, because that's just going to create more issues.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to message them now. Okay, so I'm typing it up now, and then I can let you guys know by Monday if I don't hear anything from them, and then we can go the doc route. Does that make sense?
Pretty clear to me.
That's great.
Okay. All right, I'm doing it right now. Messaging the thread that I have with them, and I'll keep you guys updated. If I hear anything from them, I'll shoot it over to you guys.
I feel like I'm sitting in the couch with a Big Bang Theory. I don't know what's going on, but you guys are there. I'm good.
Sweepy.
So the only
because I think that the EIN has Sweepy on.
So I didn't submit an EIN. I submitted the ones that I have in Doc, the same ones you sent me, so the ones that you definitely sent, which is the statement of occupancy, which has no suite, the utility bill that has a suite, licensure, which just proves that we can conduct business that does not have an address on it. But we did not submit.
So what would be the procedure to what would be Suite B? There is a mailing address, Suite B. If we have to get an updated occupancy, I'm just nervous that in 6 months when they do another scrub, this ends up being an issue that we.
That's Google's user based, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Google necessarily adds too many addresses apart from suggestions from the community anymore. I don't think they're going around adding
Not really.
streets. Maybe they'd get council plans when there's a new suburb being proposed or something like that. But I think it would mainly be from the community, suggesting edits, people saying, oh, hey, look, this exists, which is a whole nother recourse with, that's a pain in the ass.
I just wish there was
so
somebody
Josh,
at Google we could just escalate this to, just to get it fixed. It's crazy.
So Josh, when we grow, you listening?
You said the word grow? My ears are piping up. Go on.
Okay. When we grow and we reopen that side.
I said I'm a comedian. Kevin Hart took my spot.
When we grow and we open up that side, are we going to be 430 regular, or are we still going to have B?
I think it makes sense to be 430 regular. We don't need a sweet B right now. I mean, if we can get rid of it, we could get rid of it, right?
I don't know, but it feels like we're putting a Band-Aid on an issue that could come and bite us in the ass afterward.
Well,
so I want to make sure that...
So how about this? Right now, no one's looking for food. Everybody's going to the sweet B section. There's one entrance and one building. Think of it as sweet B now.
Well, we needed the sweet B for licensure at the beginning.
At the beginning, because the front of it was being used. It was still an AL.
Right.
Now there's no AL anymore. We can take the whole address and take out.
Who thought of Street B? Was it
created?
We had to create, because the front of the building that I sent you guys a picture of it was currently housing.
Yeah,
so
okay.
That's why I had to house the back.
So it's a fictional address.
What?
It's a fictional address, and you guys will add a post box which says Suite B, but it's not registered with the government or the county.
It is registered.
It is
registered.
Okay, I didn't.
And Google recognized it for over a year.
Right, that's why it's strange.
Yeah. So what? Don't have this issue.
I can call up the state surveyor, tell them that now that we're taking the whole building, and we get a new license.
I think that's what we want to do, because we don't want half of our documents being Suite B, and then we're going to end up in a purgatory where they're looking at it and things don't match.
So you know what? Don't do anything until Monday. I'll call them right now, and I'll see if that's an option. Take it off.
Switch the utilities and everything.
What?
You need to switch the utility address and everything.
I'm gonna see about the utility, yeah. But I'm gonna call him right now. I have his information. I'm gonna tell him that we're looking at changing the whole building, and it's complicating having a Suite B when it's not necessary anymore.
Okay.
So we just have
Well, that would be easy. Then we can just do a suggested change for 430 from whoever has head control over that business to accept the change of the name.
All right, so I'll call after we hang up to see if we can get something.
Can backdoor it.
Okay, so is Rebecca tweeting at Google or?
I didn't send it yet. It's written, but I didn't send it.
Josh, are we? You'll call the surveyor.
Let me go surveyor now, and I'll get out today when I email out. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I'm not doing anything right now. It is officially, so just let everybody know. I did change it, but I did not resubmit. So, like, if we resubmit or anything, the suite's off. So just let me know.
Josh, send an email within 30 minutes.
They submit it, and they want to get the new application in, so we have to have it in hand. So,
we need to. Yeah.
Right. So let me ask him if he can take a look at it.
Wait, one more question. Was it just B after the initials street, or was it Suite B?
It was Suite B.
Because the pin job, the screenshot that Josh sent me, the address.
I think it's 430B. I don't think it's Suite B.
Okay.
So it's 430 N Broadway Street and then a B, a lowercase b.
Not a suite.
Not a suite, because when I type things into Google, every time I type something in, I'm getting a different response. And just recently, it popped up with a Suite B, but then I refreshed it and it went away. But the B was capital. So
when we did the very first verification, it said Suite B. I don't know.
Okay. Sweet.
I'm gonna hang up right now. Let me see if I can get on the call. Survey.
All right.
Okay.
I think getting rid of it is the best option. That's my opinion.
I mean, if we're combining the buildings anyway, just to resolve this, I agree. I mean, just remove it.
Yeah.
And even if it's not that accurate, like you can move the pin if you need to, like on Google Maps and like that. Just about getting it back and deal with it later. Like you're better off having a business with a slightly wrong address that's live.
Right. And then that, I mean, if it's going to take you to the very general coordinates, it's going to take you there. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And there's no other businesses inside that whole building, correct?
No.
Yeah.
And Google doesn't recognize any other buildings either. Like it's registered on Google as a building with no occupants.
Right.
Which is a plus. All right. Well, I think.
Okay, so it sounds like we finally found the issue. Hopefully.
We found
Hopefully.
We've got more than we had before we started the call, so that's always good.
Okay.
All right.
So
All right.
I'll hold off, and then we'll wait to see where to go after this.
Okay.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you guys.
Be in touch.
See you later.
See ya.
To purge dissenters, and they can remove security clearances. This unreviewable authority to immediately and indefinitely remove an employee's livelihood is an open invitation for abuse, forcing whistleblowers to
Sorry, guys.
completing their savings, relying on charity, or resigning.
I love being invited into a meeting.
Moreover, by abusing the security clearance process, so you don't even have to fire somebody. You just say, well,
Oh, yeah. No, they don't. Because they tell me I have to be in this meeting, and then they only listen to half of what I have to fucking say. Every fucking thing that is fucked up with this building is because they haven't listened to me. I know why they fucking suspended it. I told them why, and they're telling me no. Okay, fine. Why the fuck did you invite me if you don't want to listen to me?
In the number of employees targeted, but an utter lack of professionalism. We
Fucking
know,
ridiculous.
for example, that the
Ordering garbage. At least I can find you something affordable that isn't garbage, and then they order 4 fucking Chromebooks. Like you're ugh. Great, you have 4 browser tablets. Because that's all a fucking Chromebook is worth. You can't put any fucking real software on it. It's so stupid.
Sort of is, though. It is an extremely important agency that is supposed to enforce the law without prejudice. And we respectfully request you independently.
There was literally 8 people on that call. That's why. It is what it is.
Cordially yours, Tristan Levitt, who is writing on behalf of Empower Oversight. Whistleblowers who are revealing that Deputy.
Imperative that I'm in that call, but then you don't fucking listen to me. It just cracks me up.
This guy right here, threatening agents, saying you are removed from the FBI if you dare challenge what we're doing. Not a surprise. The FBI wants monolithic agents who just do what they want and follow the direction of the Democratic Party so that they can continue to act as their little law enforcement agency as they gobble up power all across America.
Yeah. Oh, we can't, because then we give people avenues to defraud us. Well, escalate this to someone that can, because this is legitimate business and you're.
So let's download this and get.
But you want us to spend fucking money on advertising too. Fuck off. That's pretty. I wish you guys could see this.
So that we can.
The Cleveland skyline. Maybe you can. Who knows?
This is the discovery order that came out. This is Jack Smith's notice that he has complied with discovery. Case, of course, is United States of America versus Donald Trump and Waltine Nauda. Coming out of the Southern District of Florida, previously Judge Eileen Cannon has issued a protective order and required that the special counsel's office give Trump the case files in a timely manner. And we covered the prior protective order that the judge issued.
There's Progressive Field right there in front of us. It's where the Cleveland Guardians play. Cleveland
about this
Guardians.
stuff. So he can look at these case files, take notes about the case files, and all the documents.
I'm a Tiger fan, though.
And Trump doesn't have access to really touch him or even touch his notes. This is what Special Counsel Jack Smith is saying. Not a long filing, but they do give us some details. This one submitted by Jay Bratt, the DOJ lawyer who allegedly threatened another lawyer for Walter Nauda with losing a potential judgeship, which I'm sure will be an issue as this case proceeds. But here is what Jack Smith and Jay Bratt had to say. They say, all right, Judge, the United States filed this saying we're complying with the rules. On June 21st, you issued a protective order that said that Donald Trump, on June 21st, let me start that again. On June 21st, pursuant to the protective order, the government provided to Donald Trump its first production of unclassified discovery. They're calling it Production 1, right? And this is not the classified discovery or anything that was declassified. It is just unclassified stuff. These files came in a part of 3 batches. The first part includes documents that they obtained via subpoena, evidence obtained via search warrants, transcripts of grand jury testimony, transcripts of grand jury testimony from Florida and DC, and memorialization.
Yeah, companies buy those Chromebooks because
as we've informed counsel of Trump's lawyers, it is the government's intent to disclose
I will, brother. Thanks all day.
all witness statements and
Yeah, they're cheap. I mean, but you could buy a cheap regular Windows smart, you know, whatever it is, this, you know, smart pads or whatever, for about $100 more a piece, and they will last. And you can put everything on it. That's the thing.
that are referenced in the indictment and others including excerpts referenced in the indictment, other determined to be pertinent in the case.
Oh yeah, I'm being safe.
The government responds to the specific items identified in the discovery order as set below. So here are some of the details. In 3 batch, no, we've got. All right, here's the discovery filing. They say the production 1 includes a copy of the following items: a recorded statement made by the defendants, a written or recorded statement, interviews of Donald Trump conducted by non-government entities, which were recorded with his consent and obtained by special counsel's office during the investigation of the case, including the July 2021 recorded interview of Trump provided to a publisher and a writer quoted in the part of the indictment.
Jesus, look at this.
So these might even be media interviews. Yeah, public statements made by Trump, including public statements quoted in the indictment. The May 26 interview of defendant Nauda, which is quoted in the indictment, and the grand jury testimony when Nauda appeared before the grand jury. Other than the 2 statements of Nauda identified in paragraph A1, no relevant oral statements made by either defendant before or after the arrest in response to interrogation. So no post-arrest statements that they're going to use. Trump did not testify before the grand jury, but Walt did. So they got a part of that transcript in the discovery. The government provided their criminal records, so their criminal history to both of them. This is we know what you've done in the past. Defense counsel can contact the government to arrange for an inspection of unclassified items seized during the raid. The government is not currently aware of any other unclassified books, papers, documents, photographs, tangible objects, buildings, or places within our control which are material to the preparation of the defense, or which the government intends to use, or which were obtained that belong to him. He says there will be additional productions of discovery, and production 1 does not necessarily include everything, but we'll let you come and inspect whatever you want. In other words, we have some stuff that we're not sure we're going to use. You can come take a look. There were no physical or mental examinations of any of the defendants, Trump or Walt. They're asking that Trump and his defense also respond.
Rockefeller Park
goes both ways. Both sides have to disclose.
Established 1897.
Or something, right? He's got to disclose that to them. The government is providing Brady material based on what we know. We are giving all of that. The government will disclose any payments or promises of immunity or leniency.
Oh, look at the pride flag.
Of any witnesses or anybody involved in this case. We'll also disclose, the government says, any alleged co-conspirators' criminal convictions. So if somebody the government is using against Trump has a bad history, they'll let Trump's team know about it. They say Trump and Walt, they were not identified in any lineups or anything like that, so we're not using that stuff. All rough notes from our team have been communicated to be preserved, saying that we will disclose new evidence and witness statements to you in a timely manner.
This is a long midday show for him.
This first production includes grand jury testimony of witnesses who will testify for the government. So we'll get to know more about the mole at Mar-a-Lago. The government did not seize any contraband, like any drugs, for chemical analysis. The government does not know of any automobiles. The government does not know of any fingerprints that are relevant. The government is not... Fingerprints will be interesting on these documents. I mean, if we can identify the document that Trump was supposedly waving around. To date, the government has not received a request for disclosure of expert testimony. The government will make good faith efforts to stipulate the facts. And the government demands notices of all of the other filings. Here's our certificate of service, signed off on by Julie Edelstein, another prosecutor on the case. So, looks like this is just the first batch of stuff, a lot of the basic stuff, and we're going to have a lot of battles over the classified documents. A lot of this I still think is very early, but it is all non-classified, and it's going to be the basic stuff, probably not even a lot of the interesting stuff, because he's not being charged with crimes for unclassified documents. He's being charged with obstruction crimes for obstructing the return of the classified stuff. But we also know there are going to be witnesses listed in here who testified in the grand jury proceedings, but I'm sure that Trump's team already knows who most of these people are. So what is interesting to note from this is that they're moving quickly. Discovery got disclosed very quickly here. And the question will be, how quickly can they continue to move forward? And we'll be keeping an eye out for Trump's responses on this and really what Trump's filings will look like. And so we're going to cover this in detail. If you haven't already joined as a member on YouTube or on Locals, we do more regular Trump docket updates because there are smaller filings that aren't necessarily require an entire segment. So come out there and join us, watchingthewatchers.locals.com, because the discovery is going to be a big battle. Trump's team is going to want to see these classified documents. The government's going to say they're not qualified to see them. And then we're going to have battles over what parts of those documents can be redacted and shown to the jurors. And it's just going to be a big, messy battle. So this case is going to go on for a long time. I don't think it's going to get wrapped up anytime soon. We're going to continue to cover. Thank you for liking and subscribing wherever it is you're watching. All right, my friends, and we've got one final segment on the day on this lovely, lovely Friday before we wrap things up. And this one's kind of closely related to the Trump documents. An FBI agent just got sentenced to 3 years for her own classified documents problem. And a lot of people on the left are saying, wow, if she got 3 years, that means Donald Trump should get 3 years or more, forgetting the fact that she was never the president, Donald Trump was, and a whole slew of other compare and contrast failures that they're making. But it is a curious case. An FBI agent was in possession of these documents for a very long time. Now, this retaining classified documents. Former analyst, federal court. Her name is Kendra Kingsbury, and she was sentenced to 2 counts on lawfully retaining documents related to national defense. People are pointing out Trump's indictment, and they're saying, oh yeah, he's got some pretty similar charges here. And when we hear people say there's no way Trump is going to serve prison on this thing, this is where I start to get a little bit squirrely on this. I think that if you get this in a DC case, a DC judge, or even in Florida, the government's going to want some jail time. Now, what that actually looks like for a former president is a different story. But Kingsbury was an intelligence analyst for the FBI for more than 20 squad, different focus, had a top secret SCI security clearance. Oh my gosh. Somebody better call Jar Scarborough over there. Somebody better ring Jake Tapper. Are they going to melt down over this? Is this going to be a chyron on their screen? Kingsbury had access to the top secret, our nation's most sensitive. Here, security clearance, and had access to national defense and classified information. Oh no. Training presentations and materials specifically warned Kingsbury she was prohibited for retaining these classified materials at her personal residence. Could only be stored in approved facilities. But she admitted that over the course of her FBI employment, she repeatedly removed from the FBI these documents and retained them at her personal residence. An abundance of government materials, including documents related to national defense. Over the course of her employment, she took them. And over the course of her employment was 12 years. In total, King removed, unlawfully and willfully retained approximately 386 classified documents in her personal
There's a harsh
residence.
stop.
Some of the classified documents she unlawfully removed. Information. Security at risk. By retaining this classified information, it could reveal some of the government's most important and secretive methods of collecting intelligence. And she admitted to investigators that she had retained and destroyed other documents over the years that could have contained this info. Destroyed it, like Hillary did. This included FBI and concerns than answers. Investigators reviewed counterterrorism investigations, subjects of the counterterrorism investigation. And said she was guilty of being too honest. Now, the New York Times says Trump is facing 31 counts of similar. Mr. Kingsbury, like Mr. Trump, was accused of not being helpful. Oh, and not being forthcoming. Her lawyers attributed her behavior to, they wanted probation for her, but no. They said she took this extremely troubling document. And before he sentenced her, Judge Stephen Bowe of Federal District Court agreed with prosecutors that, quote, we will never ever know what took place. We will never ever know what took place. Doesn't sound good. And so there was one final sentencing memo that came out from the government when they asked for their penalty. This is a sentencing memorandum for the FBI agent. They give us some brief procedural history. They say that she's got 2 counts, willful retention of national defense information. The standard guidelines are 46 to 57 months in prison. But these facts are to supplement what the pre-sentence report has already found. They tell us that repeatedly over the course of her employment over 12 and a half years, she removed
I don't know what's going on with the fucking signal.
to her personal residence sensitive documents, willfully removed them, and retained them despite having receiving training over and over again not to do it. She completed 1,000, properly removed 380, ultimately determined that over 20,000 documents that originated either at the FBI or some other agency were found in her home. Some of the documents were extremely sensitive. They were on hard drives, compact discs. The FBI was able to determine that she had initiated searches in classified databases utilizing the information that she discovered, right? So it's not like she just grabbed mementos after meetings and brought them home. She went into databases and was specifically searching for certain things. They then removed them. As further explained in 3 documents, the defendant put national security at risk